Let's bring in from Washington right now Democratic Senator from Indiana and member of the Banking Committee, Senator Evan Bayh. Senator Bayh is taking on America's exploding deficits. This is his first interview since he met with Barack Obama yesterday. And today he sent a letter to Majority Leader Harry Reid urging a task force on fiscal responsibility. Well, let's start right there, Evan Bayh. This weekend, the New York Times had a lead story talking about how lobbying actually killed efforts to set up a Medicare commission with real teeth that would bring down the cost of Medicare, Medicaid, health insurance over the next decade. It doesn't look like Democratic leaders, according to the Times, Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi, are interested in deficits.
Well, Joe, unfortunately, as you know, this is not a Democrat or Republican issue. It's an institutional issue. The deficit was exploding under President Bush and the Republican leadership in Congress just the same. So my proposal to the President going forward and to my colleagues through my letter to Harry Reid is let's set up a new process that focuses on getting the deficit down, controlling spending. The debt, Joe, is exploding. Each of you on the panel today, every one of your viewers now owes $38,000. It's supposed to double over the next 10 years. But this is not sustainable. So we have to change. We can't afford business as usual. We got to change the process to get a better result, get the deficit down. And
Senator, let's put this in perspective. When George W. Bush took over as president, we had a $155 billion surplus. When he left as president, we had a $1.5 trillion deficit. Our national debt doubled. Medicare, because of the $7 trillion Medicare drug benefit plan, is teetering on the brink of bankruptcy, and the situation has only gotten worse under President Obama's proposed deficits over the next decade.
Well, in fairness to the President, he inherited more than 90% of this problem because of the weak economy, spending, the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. But regardless of who caused it, we've got to deal with it going forward. And regrettably, in Washington right now, if you give politicians an opportunity to take the path of least resistance, which is borrowing, that historically is what they take from both parties. We've got to change that because the size of these deficits moving forward is just so large. It's going to raise interest rates. It's going to cause the dollar to go down, which I heard Pat talking about previously. Most importantly of all, Joe, it steals from our children. That's not the American way, to harm our children's standard of living to benefit ourselves. We can't do that.
But, Senator, I agree with you that the President inherited a bad situation from George W. Bush. But you and I both know that his 10-year budget plan doesn't make the situation better. It doubles the national debt. He wasn't responsible in his budget either.
Well, the good news is, based upon my private conversations with him yesterday, one-on-one in the Oval Office, the reason he called me down there, Joe, is that he really knows that this is an issue we have to deal with. He wants to focus on getting the deficit down. The timing issue is rather tricky because the economy is so weak right now. You can't afford to just, cut to the bone now. But he wants to put us on a glide path to getting this deficit down in a way that will allow the economy to recover and grow. He's serious about this. That's why he called me there, and he's willing to take some tough steps, even with members of our own party, to deal with this. And this institutional reform I'm talking about, as you know, people don't like their little fiefdoms interfered with.
No, they do not.
He's willing to take this on for the sake of the American people and getting the deficit under control, and I'm willing to work with him and applaud him for that.
All right, so when you said what you said, which is, I assume, a little bit of what you're telling us now yesterday to the President, what did he say back to you that was tangible that made you believe that this will be dealt with?
Well, for starters, Mika, he brought up the issue, and he has told me he's willing to take this on in terms of earmark reform, process reform, making some of the tough decisions, even with regard to constituencies in our own party. And the reason for that, Mika, is that he knows that progressive government, doing more for health care, education, the environment, all those things that we care about, can't be done on a foundation of debt and deficit. So in the short run, we've got to get our fiscal house in order so that in the long run, we can do some of these things that we all care about. So Mika, he told me, he said, look, I'm counting on you and some who believe as you do and I do to help me make these tough decisions. So I was encouraged by our conversation.
Hey, Senator, let me ask you the last question. Can you vote for the health care reform bill that Olympia Snowe voted for yesterday?
I would be inclined to vote yes on that bill, Joe, because it does get the deficit down. It provides protection for people who currently have insurance. It does away with pre-existing condition exclusions and all those sorts of things. But I'm going to focus like a laser on making sure that we actually do get the deficit down, and that some of these amendments that come along don't start getting the deficit up, don't make insurance that people currently have more expensive, don't do things that make it just not a practical bill.
All right. Hey, Senator, always great talking to you.
Always good being with you.